back to COMM 360. I'm Audrey and this is Chase. This is the third episode of the school year. It's hard to believe that the fall semester is coming to an end already.
You've got that right, and we have a lot of news stories to discuss this episode, so without further ado, let's get right into today's news roundup.
At the end of the last episode, we mentioned that a reporter from the Picket was working on a senior capstone news story that was soon to be released, and we're excited to announce that it's been published.
The video features several communications majors who took or are currently taking a capstone class, and an interview with Professor Monica Larson, the head of the Capstone Program. All interviewees were asked to reflect on the value of the Capstone Program and what project they chose.
Take a look at what they said.
The Capstone Project within Shepherd University's Communication Department has been a highlight of the curriculum for years now, representing a culmination of the skills learned by a student over their years of studies in topics such as mass communication, new media, and digital filmmaking. A capstone is a communication student's final project before they graduate, giving them free range to choose any topic and medium of choice. Student-selected mediums range anywhere from documentaries and narrative films to podcasts and papers. The Capstone program is split into two separate classes: Capstone Preparation, where students select and research their topics, and Capstone Project, where the students actually go out and execute on that project, whether it's shooting and editing their film, writing that paper, or recording those podcast episodes.
Okay, I am Monica Larson, and I am a professor here in the Department of Communication, and I'm in charge of the Capstone program. We have two classes, COMM 451 and COMM 461. Over the years, we had a lot of students just in one class. It was called COMM 461. It was everything about Capstone. But what happened is we realized students would often get kind of the equivalent of writer's block. They wouldn't have any idea of what project they wanted to do, and they would kind of procrastinate, and worry about what am I going to do. They felt a lot of pressure. And so they would waste maybe half a semester trying to decide even just on their topic and forget about production. We also found that a lot of students, for example, filmmakers in particular, would want to do a film, and they would be writing their script in the beginning of the semester, and by the time they were just filming, a lot of the people they wanted to be actors in their film were concerned with their own schoolwork. So what we decided to do was to break it up into two different classes. Capstone Prep is one semester, and that allows you to really explore different topics. It allows you to do more research about the topic, which we felt was kind of an underexplored area when it was just one semester as well. And that you do everything, you do your research, you figure out what you want your project to be, what will the deliverables be, and deliverables are what you will turn in. And you also get to put together schedules so that when you come in for the first day of Capstone Project, which is the second half of it, you hit the ground running, hopefully. I think Capstone, you can look at it as being one foot in student life and the other foot in professional life. It hopefully will allow students to get to the next step in whatever their career may be. If you want to go to graduate school, you can decide to write a big research paper if that's something they require. If you want to go into filmmaking and yet you've never really done your own project, you've only worked on group projects, that might be something you want to explore. Or it can also be that if you've just, you realize you're going to graduate, you may not have the opportunity to spend time on something that's more obscure. This is your last chance to just take a really intellectual, improvement, I guess, for lack of a better word. What I tell always all my students, I say, if it's not the best class you've ever taken, it's your own fault, because you really do get to plan your whole project yourself. And you do work with a director, but, it is really self-motivated and hopefully self-satisfying.
At this stage in the semester's capstone preparation class, students have selected their topics and medium of choice, and are now conducting research and explaining what they learned in the form of weekly blog posts. Past projects are available to view on the department's WordPress site.
Hey, my name is Tyler Noland. My major is communications and my concentration is digital filmmaking. My capstone project is going to be a short horror film / suspenseful, roughly about 20 minutes. I really just want to expand my skills because I've made a bunch of short little videos, like, 1 minute long type deal, but I really want to do a full little short film, have a narrative behind it, good editing and all that. Yeah. I just finally finished the plot. I kind of know the characters. Soon, within the next week or so, I'm going to start writing the screenplay. So yeah, still very early on in the process, but it's slowly, the ball's getting rolling now, so. The capstone class just put the idea in my head that this is my time to make this short film. This is the biggest thing that I will have made thus far. So the class just really gave me that little push to, hey, this is your time to make this, So it really, that's what really got the ball rolling. I'm excited to get started on this screenplay, man. I haven't written one yet, so it's gonna be a fun experience.
Hello, my name is Austin Grigoric. I am a communications major and a business administration minor, and our concentration is in digital filmmaking. My capstone project is a short 5-track EP musical project that I am accompanying with a screenplay that I'm writing. And I am essentially putting together 5 tracks along with help with co-producers located in Helsinki, Finland. Got a great cast of talented producers, and working, of course, with you, Ethan, on some of the keys and some of the other framework of the composition, the instrumental of the work. Simply putting together music, taking a little bit different approach towards music and not your traditional screenplay writing, just taking more of because I'm an artist myself, so I thought, why not incorporate the elements that I know and learn over the years and just put a project together. So the inspiration behind this particular project, this 5-track EP, is sort of a look introspectively in towards myself and my thoughts and ideas and emotions, experiences, and outside other people that I've met, sort of like where we are as a society today. The album, or the EP, is titled Autumn's Music Box, and I'll let listeners interpret that as they will. I won't give any explanations towards that yet. I'm looking forward to having that complete in the coming months. And of course, if I haven't mentioned, it's a very fun process creating music. I love it. I've worked with the technology for a while and gotten to network out with a lot of people to help come in and create this project. So inspirational. It's the work is the inspiration. And I know it's cliche, but it really is getting together as one, coming out with a project and being happy and content with it. Demonstrating your knowledge and ability to network and create is awesome to me, and I wouldn't trade it for anything else, really. Well, I really appreciate, a class that sort of prepares you. It's in the name, prepares you for such a important project in your senior year at college. Our great professor for the course, Monica, she's really helped me a lot in previous courses, and she's very, thoughtful, considerate of ideas and so forth. And I'm working with, just with my advisor, Kevin Williams, and just kind of steering me in that direction. I'm kind of taking it all on myself, of course, because it is self-managed. You have to kind of put your dates in there. You've got due dates for blogs and, status reports, but you are really managing your work and your time accordingly to when that due date essentially is, which will be in the spring for me in the next semester. So when capstone class comes around. So working on it now, preliminary phase, but when I get into capstone, that's when the work begins. That's when the real work and the finished product is officially released, and that's when I want to feel like I was prepared enough to, and I feel like I've been pretty much.
So my name is Amanda Barber. I went to Shepherd as a communication major, and my concentration was strategic communication. So I did my capstone. It was a multimedia project, which was a website, blog, and podcast about the west side of Charleston, West Virginia. I grew up on the west side, and so it was just kind of like a highlighting project about people in the area and stuff like that. The inspiration was that I grew up in a neighborhood where the media as well as the city looked at it as kind of the bad part of the city, the bad side of town that, you didn't really want to be on unless you had to be. And being within that community, I had a whole different perspective. I didn't have this perspective of all this badness and craziness. While there were issues that went on there were reasons behind those issues, whether they were class-based, race-based, the city turning their back on an entire community. And so I decided to take a community where people kind of portrayed it in a bad light, and instead portrayed it in a good light and talked about, yes, there are these problems, but you're going to hear about them firsthand from the people who are going through them, and you're going to hear about the positive that they're spreading out in the community to prevent those problems, so that you're not hearing all bad, you're hearing the good and the bad, and what are those solutions for those problems. I think the most beneficial aspect of the capstone prep is the scheduling. So being able to say, by this point, by this date, I want this to be done for my project. By this date, I want this to be done. These are the 3 components of the project. And so breaking it down into categories and breaking it down into scheduling, so it's not this big giant project that just is up in your face. It's more broken down into segments. COVID was really hard on all college students, all of everybody. But when I was going to Shepherd, COVID hit in the middle of my junior year. So I was, looking forward to being a senior the next fall, and was looking forward to taking capstone prep and all of that. And then when I got in my senior year and all of my classes were on Zoom, that proved a lot harder, than I ever thought it would be. Especially, I think a lot of us already had anxiety and depression before COVID. And if you didn't, then a lot of us do now. And so just dealing with general anxiety and depression, on top of it having classes on Zoom all the time, I just found myself that things were taking a lot longer than usual. As if, if I was in class with the professor and able to ask things back and forth, but Zoom, there was some barrier that just was taking me a little bit extra time to get stuff done. So I just talked to Dr. Larson, and she's understanding and great. And I said, look, this has taken me a little bit more time than I really want it to. And I think it would be better executed if I had a little bit of an extra semester. I think I'd be happier with the product. I think you'd be happier with the product. And so she understood that and helped me out and gave me an extension, which was approved by the registrar, I think. But I was glad I took the extra time. The project turned out how I wanted it to. And then because I took that extra time on that project, I ended up being in the right place at the right time, and was offered, because I was in town for working on that project at that time in my hometown, I was offered a job with a TV news station here in Charleston, and accepted that job. And now that's where I work. So I was glad I actually took the extra time, because it put me in an opportunity to be a journalist in real life. So that was exciting.
By the end of the spring 2023 semester, these ideas will have evolved into complete, polished projects, which students can add to their portfolios and submit with job or grad school applications. And these projects will live on for years to come, as future students look to their work for inspiration. Reporting for the Picket, I'm Ethan Baker.
I really enjoyed hearing about how the Capstone program prepares students for the professional world after college. Some of those project ideas are really interesting as well. I can't wait to see what the finished products are in the spring.
And next up is sports.
The Shepherd Rams football team experienced their first loss of the season this past Saturday at the PSAC Championship at Indiana University of Pennsylvania with a final score of 24-21.
This ended their 10-0 undefeated streak this season. However, they now go on to the playoffs for a chance at redemption.
To talk more about the future of the team this season, let's bring in our football experts, Kevin and Gerald.
Hello and welcome to COMM 360. My name is Chase, and I'm here today with Gerald, the defensive lineman of the Shepherd football team. How are you doing today, man?
I'm doing pretty good.
Doing all right?
It's a nice day out. It's snowing. Pretty good day.
Loving the spontaneous snow. How are you feeling after this last game?
The last game was a great game. Unfortunately, the Shepherd Rams could not bring it in, scoring 20-24. But there were like circumstances that caused that, like the rain and things like that. And I think that if we were to see that team IUP again, we would definitely win that game.
So you're confident you could take that team again?
Yeah.
So you said other things like rain. Other than stuff like rain, what did the other team bring that contributed to the first loss of the season?
They brought that energy, man. Like their offense was electric, their defense was electric. But not to knock Shepherd. Shepherd has the same exact energy. I just feel like the weather was a huge factor in that loss. So catch us on another day, and we win that game for sure.
You guys have been playing strong, so I'm sure you can get it. But despite the loss, were there any memorable moments from the last few games so far from this season that you could share?
I think there were a lot of memorable moments. The game versus Kutztown, where they scored 42-35. There was a big play at the end of the game to get to that win. So that was one big moment that I remember personally.
And how many games are left in this season?
Well, right now they're in the playoffs, so it's really to be determined. So they play Saturday, they play New Haven, and if they win that game, then they'll have another game. If they win that game, there'll be another game. And then they have the region championship, and if they win that game, I think they go to the national championship, I believe. So it could be 5 more games.
Right. And how does the team plan to turn this track around and finish the season off strong?
Oh, trust me. even during that game, with the loss, the score was like 24-14 at one point in time, and the Rams still stayed in it. They still fought back. So I believe that with this week of practice and everything going on, they'll definitely get that win against New Haven on Saturday.
Just got to bring that energy.
Bring that same energy.
Well, it's nice to hear that they've been playing really strong this season.
Yeah.
All right. And this is Gerald from the Shepherd football team.
You all know the drill by now. Our final segment of today's show is none other than Department News, the latest happenings in the COMM department.
And now for this episode's department headline, the COMM 322 social media class taught by Dr. Cushion is coming to an end in just a few weeks, but the social media content posted by the students of the class is still going strong.
At the beginning of the semester, the class was split up into 3 social media groups: Instagram, Instagram Reels, and Twitter. The students then took over those accounts, serving as content creators and promoters for the communication department's official social media pages under the username @ShepComm.
They've been posting content throughout the school year and are increasing engagements on the accounts, including more views, likes, follows, and shares.
Be sure to check out the @ShepComm Instagram and Twitter pages now to see the content that these students have created this semester, including promotional posts and reels for the annual Halloween costume contest last month, interviews with communication students on how classes within the department have benefited them, and a tour of the COMM department, to name a few.
And more content is yet to be released, so stay up to date by following both accounts so you won't miss any new posts.
Go ahead, do it right now. Well, that about wraps it up for this episode.
We hope you enjoyed listening. We certainly enjoyed putting on the show for you guys.
Join us next time for more Shepherd News by Shepherd students, for Shepherd students. Reporting for COMM 360, I'm Audrey.
And I'm Chase, signing out.